Once upon a time, in a beautiful and prosperous kingdom, there lived a wise and old king. He had ruled his people with kindness and justice for many, many years. The kingdom was happy, the fields were full of crops, and the rivers flowed with clear water. But the king was growing old, and a great worry began to cloud his thoughts. He knew that one day he would have to pass his crown to one of his 3 sons. Choosing the next king was not an easy task. It was honestly the most important decision he would ever have to make for the future of his beloved kingdom. The king had 3 handsome and strong sons. The eldest son, Rajan, was a brave warrior, skilled with a sword and respected by the army. The second son, Samir, was very intelligent. He loved to read books and could spend hours in the royal library, learning about history, law, and science. The youngest son, Kavi, was known for his quiet nature and his gentle heart. He loved spending time in the royal gardens, watching the plants grow and listening to the songs of the birds. The king loved all his sons equally, but he knew that being a good king required more than just strength or intelligence. It required wisdom and a deep sense of responsibility. So the king thought and thought. He could not simply choose the eldest, as was the tradition. He needed to be sure that the next ruler would care for the kingdom as if it were a precious garden, helping it grow and flourish for all the people. A king must not only protect his kingdom, but also make it prosper. He must think about the future, and not just the present moment. This was the great challenge. How could he discover which of his sons possessed this true wisdom? He needed a test, but not a test of fighting or reading. It had to be a special test, a simple one that would reveal the true character of each prince. After many days of careful thought, a brilliant idea came to the king. It was a simple plan, yet it was very clever. He decided he would go on a long pilgrimage for 3 years. Before he left, he would give each of his sons a task. This task would not involve swords or books. It would be a test of foresight, care, and understanding of a fundamental truth, that what is given to us is a trust, and how we manage that trust shows our true worth. The king smiled, for he had found a way to look into the hearts of his sons and see who was truly ready to wear the heavy crown of a king. The day before his long journey, the king called his 3 sons to the throne room. The grand hall was quiet, and the princes stood respectfully before their father, wondering what he wanted to tell them. The king looked at each of them with love in his eyes. He then explained that he was leaving for a pilgrimage and would be gone for 3 long years. He told them he wanted them to look after the kingdom while he was away, but he also had a personal task for each of them. A royal guard then brought in 3 identical cloth bags, each filled to the brim with the finest wheat grains from the royal granary. The king gave 1 bag of wheat to each son. "My dear sons," he said in a calm but firm voice, "I am giving each of you this bag of wheat. This is not just any wheat. It is a symbol of our kingdom's prosperity, a seed of our future. I want you to take care of these grains while I am away. When I return in 3 years, I will ask for them back. You must return the bag to me exactly as you received it." The princes looked at the bags in their hands. It seemed like a very simple and strange request from their powerful father, the king. Just keep a bag of wheat safe for 3 years. It sounded easy. Rajan, the eldest, took his bag and thought, "This is a simple task for a future king. I will lock it away so it remains safe." He felt confident that he could easily fulfill his father's wish. Samir, the second son, examined the grains closely. 3 years is a long time, he thought. These grains might spoil or get eaten by insects. I must find a clever way to preserve them. He was already thinking of different scientific methods to keep the wheat from changing. Kavi, the youngest, held the bag gently. He looked at the tiny, hard grains and saw not just food for today, but the promise of food for many tomorrows. The princes bowed to their father and promised to follow his instructions carefully. The king nodded, his face unreadable. He did not give them any more clues or advice. He wanted to see what each son would do on his own. The test had officially begun. The 3 bags of wheat, which looked exactly the same on the outside, were now in the hands of the 3 brothers. The future of the kingdom rested not on a great battle or a difficult exam, but on how each prince chose to care for a simple bag of grain. The king then departed on his long journey, leaving his sons and his kingdom to await his return. The eldest son, Rajan, immediately took his bag of wheat to the strongest vault in the royal treasury. He believed that the best way to keep something safe was to lock it behind a thick iron door. "My father asked me to keep it safe, and that is what I will do," he declared. "Here, no thief can steal it, and no harm can come to it." He placed the bag in a dark corner of the vault, locked the heavy door, and put the key in his pocket. For the next 3 years, he did not think about the wheat again. He was busy with his military training, confident that he had perfectly fulfilled his father's command. The second son, Samir, had a different idea. He knew that wheat grains could rot or get infested with weevils if left unattended for so long. Being a man of books and knowledge, he went to the market and sold the bag of fresh wheat for a good price. He carefully put the money in a small wooden box. "When my father returns, I will simply go to the market and buy a new bag of the freshest wheat," he reasoned with a clever smile. "It will look exactly the same as the one he gave me. This way, the grains will be perfect, and I will have avoided any risk of spoilage. My father will surely be impressed by my intelligence and practical thinking." But Kavi, the youngest son, had a truly different vision. He looked at the bag of wheat and saw its potential, its life force. He knew that locking it away would kill it, and simply replacing it would miss the point of his father's test. So, he took the bag of wheat to a fertile plot of land behind the palace. He and the royal gardeners carefully sowed every single grain into the rich soil. He understood that the best way to keep the wheat safe was to make it grow. He trusted in the power of nature and the cycle of life. He believed his father had given him not just a bag of grain, but a chance to create abundance. As the seasons passed, the single bag of wheat grew into a field of golden stalks. After the first harvest, Kavi had many bags of wheat. He stored some for the kingdom's granaries to feed the people and sold some to help the farmers. The rest, he planted again in an even bigger field. He repeated this process year after year. For 3 years, while his brothers had forgotten or replaced their wheat, Kavi was busy cultivating a great harvest. He was not just protecting what his father gave him, he was multiplying it, making it grow, and sharing its benefits with the entire kingdom. After 3 long years, the old king finally returned from his pilgrimage. He was greeted with grand celebrations, but he was most eager to see his sons and find out the results of his test. He called the 3 princes to the throne room, just as he had done before he left. "My sons, I have returned," he announced. "The time has come. Please bring me the bags of wheat I entrusted to your care." The moment of truth had arrived. The future of the kingdom hung in the balance, waiting to be decided by the contents of 3 simple bags. First, Rajan, the eldest, proudly walked to the treasury and unlocked the heavy vault. He brought back the same cloth bag he had stored 3 years ago. He presented it to the king and said, "Father, I have kept it perfectly safe, just as you asked." But when the king opened the bag, he found that all the wheat grains had turned to dust. They were rotten, moldy, and smelled terrible. They were completely useless. The king looked at his eldest son with disappointment. "You kept the wheat, but you allowed its life to die," he said sadly. "A kingdom is not a treasure to be locked away. It must be nurtured." Next, Samir, the second son, came forward. He confidently presented a bag of beautiful golden wheat. "Father," he said with a smart smile, "I knew the original wheat would spoil, so I sold it. Here is a fresh bag of the finest wheat, bought this very morning. It is exactly as you gave it to me." The king shook his head slowly. "You are clever, my son," he said, "but you misunderstood the task. I did not give you money. I gave you a responsibility. You replaced the trust I gave you instead of growing it. A kingdom cannot be run by clever tricks. It needs genuine care and foresight." Finally, it was Kavi's turn. He bowed and said, "Father, I am sorry, but I cannot bring you back that single bag of wheat. Please, come with me." He led his father and brothers to the window. He pointed outside to where vast fields of golden wheat swayed in the breeze and where giant granaries stood, filled to the top. "That is the wheat you gave me," Kavi explained softly. "I planted it and it multiplied. It has fed our people and will feed them for years to come. I returned your trust with a harvest." The king's eyes filled with tears of joy. He saw that his youngest son understood the true meaning of leadership. Kavi had not just preserved the gift, he had made it grow for the benefit of all. He was declared the next king, for a true leader knows that opportunities, like seeds, are meant to be planted and nurtured, not locked away or traded. The lesson is simple for all of us. In life, we are all given chances, big and small. It is what we do with them that truly defines our future.